I don't think that we have too much of information or too much ways to really identify, oh, you know, when it comes to our digital glasses, this is the amount of heroes that's been picked, blah, 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 blah. Maybe I will feedback that over to the Excel sheet maker and tell him
JGPT.
Yeah. Tell him, hey, you're missing these very vital information. But all in all, I think that this is going to be fun to watch between Stallion as well as Kings SG, as we are already going into the drafting phase.
Now, taking on the Sun Shin, taking on the Lancelot, so no assassins for these two. It's, again, the battle of the prodigies down the jungle. Again, we have a lot of attention on the assassin junglers. The fanning will be banned out. It's a huge respect over to the prodigy, Yahiko. A lot of players or a lot of fans are actually psyching him up quite a bit.
Yep.
And hopefully, you know, he shows us some promise moving forward in this matchup.
Well, one thing's for sure is that we wouldn't know exactly what is about to happen in this game. So far, their games is not too bad, right? But I think that in terms of tiering system, I don't think I genuinely don't think it's because we have a lot of experience with Stallions. But in the games that they have played so far, they definitely showed a lot more promise in the way that they play. Early game, mid game, late game. Of course, mistakes were made in game number 2. That's why they had to, go all the way to the late games and still lost the game. So in situations like these, I would want to see Kings Singapore be able to identify these weaknesses of Stallions and try to take them out.
Yeah, they have that momentum from the previous game. They just played it. They had a short break, back to the drawing board. Right now, here they are. Stallions will be first pick. And I think CC is on the table for them if they want to go for it. Roy really is nutty with the Kimmy. They might be able to snap pick that one up as well. So 2 viable options right here.
Yeah, so
it's a CC.
Yeah, this is still going to be a CC. Once again, it feels like they are forced to pick a CC. Whenever I see Stallion picking up a CC, it doesn't really fit their MO all that much.
It doesn't feel Diablo.
It doesn't feel Diablo-ish. So it kind of feels as though we have to bring that over to Renza. And I think that as for Renza, is someone that is relatively new to this stack of 5, right? I hope that he's not in the situation whereby he's just thinking, you know what, you guys just play your game. I will flex. If you guys think that we need to have a CC in here, I will play the CC.
Yeah. To counter the CC, I feel like the Arlot would be a better option. At least you have an Era of Effect crowd control ability. But it will be the Grok getting that pick up and denying the Kimmy away from Roy.
Yep. Other than that, Farsa as well as Kalia is also 2 other heroes that could be possible joining into the fray. We haven't exactly found or seen the opportunity of losing Cutie with that Kalia just yet. But at this point, we're still relearning the kind of heroes that they could play. And Alice! Okay, unless... Okay, so their method of operation is that they will always pick Diablo's heroes last because they want the flexibility. However, just from the first 3 pick, it really just feels as though we already have Diablo's heroes out. Unless they just decided to be like, hey, here's a curveball. Bray is gonna play the Alice.
This is what I think so too. I think it's still a viable option in the jungle, not as much as the EXP. Because your first skill is pretty much adjusted to have a longer cooldown time. You can't really rotate around that map. You don't really have a lot more damage. And you have to play that as a tank, and very well so. The Arlot getting picked up as a counter towards that CC, as we pointed out. But it might not be a EXP lane CC. And I do have to agree with you that the CC doesn't feel very Diablo-esque. I feel like this...
At least will be more Diablo-esque.
It might, but there will not be enough damage if they do a double fighter side lane with Bray in the jungle. Especially in the early game where you want a lot more skirmishes, a lot more fights to happen. And this is very Team Stallions, right? It's going to jungle, be the aggressor, and take down heads, try to snowball their way through. And it's very Bray and very Diablo-like to be that aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to kind of think about these 3 heroes, it is very pick-off style, right? It's super pick-off. They just want to go from front to back and just generally deal with the frontliners ASAP, while the Alice just goes behind, wreak havoc, and just buys so much time for the team. That is what I'm looking out for. And buying time is essentially something that Diablo is not too bad with, and I think that he's the one that creates the chaos, not exactly the one that creates space. In fact, because we did had a chat with Diablo, right? He's the kind of player that wants the roamer to create the space for him so that he will be able to do miracles.
It's just Diablo things.
Just
he
Diablo
wants to
things,
do
right?
Diablo things if the roamer enables him. And I think this is how Lucian Cutie likes to play around. Lucian Cutie is ballsy in the fact that he likes to go check the bushes, hit first, but he's also calculative. He knows where the enemies are, or he kind of predicts their movements throughout these maps, and it's especially so within dangerous grass, the dangerous grass environment. So this one might feel like a... Yeah, but the Granger looking really good for KSG. But for Stallions, though, this is a sticky situation. I feel like the CC should go into the gold lane, and then Alice in the jungle. You still have flexibility of maybe
still
a
on that
hard
train,
hitting.
huh? The Diablo's heroes not picked train.
Yeah, or you know, Diablo going into CC.
It could really
Alice.
it could really just go anywhere. Not exactly CC on Diablo. I would never imagine CC on Diablo. At least Alice on Diablo is still possibly a thing. While in the meantime, Bray is someone that is really good at creating space. So Alice to him still makes sense. But how that jungle rotation looks like, it sounds like that is my problem.
This is just crazy. A very dysynergistic pick from the Chip as well as the Akai. You open up the portal, Chip the Akai goes in, starts that heavy spin. It throws everyone off their tracks, and I think that's a deny over to the Grok, because once the Akai gets picked up by KSG, the onus and the value is in their hands. Build up the wall and you lock them down with the heavy spin. So that would be the Akai going into the jungle, and then you're flexing over the CC down the gold lane, Diablo, Alice.
Definitely feels that they are lacking in a lot of damage, right? Alice don't necessarily kill, but creates.
Hey, but this is
space.
Roy that we're talking about.
Roy should be the.
Can be faked.
Oh wait, you're right.
Trials
Yeah.
can be rigged.
Oh wait,
The
you're
only thing
right.
I
Yeah,
trust
this is
is
Roy we were
my
talking about.
own two
Very
eyes.
aggressive mid laner, and I think it makes sense
Wait.
that they're all together. So
It's-
Renza, Gold,
Renza, Gold,
Diablo,
Roy,
Alice, and then Bray,
Lunox.
Akai. Okay, it makes sense.
Okay, yeah,
But then
so-
that means they have to be very, very aggressive. They are forcing Yahiko to play the assassins. That's why they're going tanks, and they can sustain that damage enough in the late game. But if it goes into uber late game, 15, 16-minute territory, the KSG can just walk all over them. They have that damage to do so. They have the crowd control abilities to set things up for themselves. And I like the way that Lucian Cutie plays. We'll see him on the Chip. I think one of his more favorite heroes and signature picks back in the day as well, where he's using that, opening up that bushes and hiding within areas where he can get the most bang out of your buck.
Not only do we have interesting picks coming in from Team Stallions, we also do have to highlight that Ling that's been picked by Yahiko. Understandably, we have four junglers that has been banned from the side of Stallions, which really just left Kings to that spot. They gotta have to play that Ling. So ultimately, this is a very expensive, very greedy draft from Kings. And so far from all the games that we saw from Stallion, they are masters of the early game. So to draft a lineup that plays so much into the late game, I think that's a really bold move.
Yeah, we'll see how things play out. Lucian Cutie already having a lot of EXP right from the get-go, opening up that options, opening up that intelligence for the rest of the team. I want to see how Roy and Lucian Cutie's synergy actually is optimized and empowered through the fact that they have that prowess down in the mid side. Clears the lane fast, start that early game rotation. Diablo's already having that zone potential down EXP side. One Boy Reborn is a little bit more intimidated at this front mid side though, a little bit of a skirmish, but I think Kings will make it out safe.
Yeah, there's no way that Team Stallions will be able to get any form of early game kills unless Kings SG were to make a mistake. And the mistake will have to be very grave in the form of mispositioning or overextending themselves, such as a Ling Finch poise into a too deep into the fight, that kind of stuff, right? But looking at Yahiko, I don't think that that's the kind of things that would happen. So we should generally see a killless match until the first turtle.
Diablo will be safe and sound as of now. Yahiko is already level 4. He does have the ultimate ready. As Lucian Cutie just in position right on the tri-bush. I don't think Kings recognize that he's there.
It's still a lot of time before anything were to happen. Yes, the turtle is out, but we still gonna have to wait for the right opportunity. Roy is at level 4, so the big burst is gonna happen.
Oh, I like how they're playing though. Yahiko knows that he has to give up this turtle. Forced to get that reset just because of that wall. Bray secures that turtle, but Rensa susses him out down on the purple buff and forces Yahiko back.
Rensa.
Good call by Rensa.
Wow. The fact that the gold laner immediately just make the way over to the purple buff is a big play.
Yeah, good read on that one. Iron Ryan actually gets shut down. First blood over to Renza. Good call, good rotation. Down into the turret. Diablo's right there to take that down. Bumble Reborn will have a consolation prize in the form of Roy.
That's an information play that Team Stallions would have really needed. That also means that Yahiko essentially just wasted a little bit of time going into the opponent's purple buff. But it shouldn't be too big of a problem because they did manage to go for one trade between Roy as well as Ryzen, if I recall correctly.
Oh, Flicker's already utilized. Renza just weaving, bobbing away. Here's the portal. And here is the Goon Squad. The Cavalry is here. Stallions take down Bob for getting a little bit too close.
As such, it is going to be a free lane all the way up top, but it's not the end just yet.
There's the charge, and that's the knock-up. Yahiko will secure that one for himself. He's also went back for the purple buff, so that's a huge win for Yahiko.
Easy 4 blades coming in from Yahiko. I think that they are definitely going to be moving on in tandem from this point, and it's not going to be stopped by the fact that there is a small amount of advantage to Stallions.
A little bit of a slower pace from Stallions this time around, but this is a very interesting draft that they are playing things around. No marksman once again. They have a lot more damage onto Roy, and they have to put their confidence onto Roy. There's the only win condition. If Kings can take down the Lunox, then Team Stallions are in shambles. Diablo facing up against 2 will survive, but in mid-side, Iron Ryan taking a lot of damage. There's the traction pulse to keep everyone safe. Iron Ryan 1 hit away from his doom and still barely walks out.
It's all about the executioner. Team Stallions do not have a way to really just execute and kill people on site. The fights will have to drag on for extended periods of time, and with Roy technically being the pause one of this game.
Yeah, Bumble Reborn able to take down that minion, able to weave and bob out of the way. There's darkness, and they're all just chasing all of them. There's a portal, and they get a little bit of a U-turn down in the turtle pit. Rensa takes down Bong. A little bit of a funny movement, but here comes Bumble Reborn to follow up, and finally, in their inevitable doom, walks in the portal and takes his own life away. He goes next to fall, Roy with the double, and make it a triple as 4 members of Kings SG are taken out.
Actually hilarious. Chase. Oh, wait, hold on. Bye. The way that the account just turned around.
The way that the camera just cut and the observer just moved over to the turtle pit. We all just tunnel vision on right that 3 members.
That is bloody hilarious. But that pretty much landed Stallions with a good amount of kills thus far, with a total of 7-4 between these two teams. Team Stallions have got a good amount of a 1,300 gold lead, and they could actually get a little bit more from this point in time after getting the T1 up top.
Good lockdown onto Iron Ryan. Good damage from Renza. Kick things off. Team Stallions, 1,300 gold ahead of Kings SG, but it doesn't look like a very dominant performance that we are used to seeing Team Stallions. With that draft, it doesn't have that structured front-to-back approach. They have to put a lot of respect and honor over to the damage that Roy brings to the table. There's a portal being set up. Bumble Reborn getting locked down, pinned into the wall. There's a tectonic charge to knock 3 up into the sky and away. The Tempest of Blades comes in from Yahiko, but not enough damage to lock anyone down. And that is the power of 4 tanky boys just soaking up all that damage, and Bong trying to take a kill for himself, but being body blocked one after another. The layering coming through from Stallions.
I think that's generally a really nice play from Stallions. However, that is actually a mistake more for Kings, right? I do appreciate Iron Ryan just rushing right in immediately to help the team out, but unfortunately, there was another person that joined him in the fray. I think that it was just Bumble Reborn that got caught regardless. So they did what they could to return the favor, go for a little bit of a trade, but they were completely staggered out, 2v5, and just kind of feeding themselves or throwing themselves over to a big body of Team Stallion.
As a solo kill from Renza down onto Yahiko. That's a better CC that we've seen for Renza today, 6-0 and 4. He's played this once, and it didn't work out as well as it did or it's doing in this game.
Yeah.
As Kings SG finding themselves in a spot of bother, and they have to fend off against this yo-yo wielding girl.
Part of me still feels as though if all of the 5 members of each team were to kind of gather together and just keep going on the fight, Kings SG will definitely have the advantage.
Portal up, Cavalry's here immediately into the tectonic charge, a heavy spin to push everyone away. They lock down Iron Ryan, but look at the backside though, Roar trying to jump in, but it's not enough damage for now. Team Stallions loses one and calls the rest of the team here. Down goes Bray as well. Iron Ryan will secure that kill. It's a signs of life from Kings SG.
That would be what I would expected. You know, 5v5, but unfortunately under the proxy of 2 turrets, it makes things even worse. There's a lot of displacement skills, or rather, there is one displacement skill from the side of Kings SG. Makes things a little bit tough for Team Stallions to play in a very safe location right next to a turret. So I think that is a very desperate attempt from Team Stallions just to snag a little bit more kills and get themselves a little bit more of that advantage.
It's a little bit of a poking battle down the mid side. It's Kings SG finding a little bit of trouble holding on to the top side as Renza dealing a lot of damage on Ryan. Great initiation and counter reflection with the tectonic charge, but he has to hold on to that one. The Lord is going to spawn up in the next 30 seconds. Kings SG doesn't want to waste the resources right before the Lord.
Now the question is if whether Yahiko does
Portal
have...
goes up onto Yahiko, but unable to catch him.
Yeah, it doesn't have the purple. So it's very interesting to see Bray actually sacrificing his life, literally knowing that he's kind of out of position to try to snag away the purple buff ASAP. And then shortly afterwards, you know, Ling will have no purple buff to kind of play around with, if I recall correctly, unless it expired.
Yeah, I think they're just, you know, trading purple buffs right now. Might be taken away by Bray down in the skirmish that lost his life, but the purple buff is up. The Lord is being dealt with. Ling is not anywhere near. They're going to blitz this down. They saw Ling at the top side. Roy will secure the Lord for themselves, and they're moving in a beeline towards that purple buff. They want to take all the resources away from Yahiko.
Yeah, so it's all about starving Kings SG out, and they identified that Ling be Ling. Without the purple buff, Ling is really difficult to execute and can't even go for 4 blades, Tempest of Blades, right? So it's tough. As long as they're able to find ways to negate the amount of purple buff that Kings SG can get, then they are already in a massive amount of advantage.
Oh, big TOR from Diablo set things up as the portal already utilized just to try to mitigate some of the damage. Diablo goes down, down goes Lucian QD. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Down goes Bray as well. All the sacrificial lands, but not enough damage from Team Stallions to execute under turret plays like they always do.
Unfortunately, those trades were kinda equal per se. Even though Stallions lost 3, those 3 are generally just gonna be the tanky boys, right?
Oh, Renzo starting things off with so much damage. No one can deal with the yo-yo wielding maniac.
That is what we are talking about. You kind of throw your bodies away for the frontliners because all they need to be doing is just soak up damage and be tanky, and then leave it all to Roy as well as Renza. The difference about Renza is that she does have a lot of damage on the CC, and does have damage, does have survivability. You pour all your gold into Renza as the pos 2, you eventually will be able to find yourself a lot of opportunities to create some of these plays that we saw just now.
You know, time is ticking for Team Stallions. As much as Renza is having a great game so far, 7-0-6 for CC, Team Stallions does not have a lot of late game scaling potential apart from this Lunox though.
They're timing out soon.
They don't really have a lot of zone potential unless like Diablo is able to make something happen. The Kings SG, they're coagulating all together. They're trading blows and they don't mind risking their bodies for any of these kills whatsoever. Renza busy dealing with that purple buff, try to delay some time. Bray got that secured away from Yahiko. That's gonna hurt.
The moment the economy for Kings SG reached a total of 45,000, it doesn't really quite matter about the economical state anymore. it also really doesn't matter how many damage dealers Kings SG loses, because ultimately just a single damage dealer is more than enough for them to be able to close out the game, for them to continue a team fight, 1+1 of a tank as well as a damage dealer, more or less is enough. While Team Stallions, they lack the damage, right? So having the Lunox as well as the CC alive only by the end of the fight, I don't think that they will be able to particularly be able to defend if Kings SG were, left with 2. Is a 2v2 is still gonna be really tough.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Look at how Lucian Cutie is sitting on that bush. No one knows that he's there, and he's obviously waiting for Bong. That's the win condition for Team Stallions once they take out that Granger, and it's all over. He's walking towards that brush. Lucian Cutie's right there. That's the portal. That's the flicker. That's what we've been waiting for. Tectonic charge just to block the charge, and Roy immediately gets executed down. What a read from Iron Ryan. But they left the Lord alone. They don't really have that much damage. This Diablo's locking Yahiko in place and finally takes him down to TOR.
I don't even know which one is a distraction. Is a lot of distraction, or the fighter down to the bottom is a distraction? In the end of the day, I think that what Stallions wanted to do is just do a two-pronged attack. While they focus on the Lord, one of these they're gonna win. But I gotta have to give it over to Iron Ryan. That was impeccable play. Already and immediately out of sheer understanding of the game, threw out the Guardian's Barrier over there and reacted just so effectively to the shortcut being dropped down, and gives Bong that living opportunity and that kill too.
That almost came to fruition. I saw Roy waiting for the portal. He was in the mid lane. He was trying to help out with that Lord. But at the end of the day, though, I think it was just bad timing from Roy. I think Lucian Cutie didn't see Iron Ryan cross through that bush. But now Lord is marching in on the top side. They want to try to deal with that T3 up top. Bray still has the heavy spin. He's holding it for Christmas, waiting for Kings SG to try to make a move first, try to disrupt that tectonic charge, and everyone has their resources up and online.
That is the top lane T3 and the middle lane T3 that has been destroyed. There will be a brand new wave that will be joining down to the bottom lane, and now the problem is about the wave clear. Does Kings SG have enough to wave clear that?
Oh, that's a huge missed final slash. That's a TOR onto the back line, pushing Ryzen and Bong out of the way. That's a heavy spin, locking 2 down into infinity and beyond. Roy dealing so much damage from the back line. The portal already used up just to mitigate some of the damage that comes in, and they lost Diablo still, but pushed away the main damage dealer. What a play from Team Stallions.
I don't think that it's going to mean too much for Team Stallions, because it's essentially trading one person for 3 of these inhibitor turrets that gain them a total net cost of 6,000 gold advantage. And I talked about a 45,000 economy. The moment that a team reaches there, it doesn't really quite matter because the main damage dealers are more or less there. We got a CC that has got maxed out items. Lunox is unfortunate, not quite there just yet, but with the Divine Glyph and the Holy Crystal up, I think she's more or less good. Just leaving one more defensive item such as the Blood Wings is more than enough to really get her to critical mass.
I think the Kimmy might be looking to build the Holy Crystal, getting a little bit more damage right now. You've got the DHS already built up, so that is percentage damage done for all of the tanks in the arsenal of Team Stallions. But Kings SG, somehow they're falling behind, even though they have a standard classic traditional front-to-back kind of draft. Iron Ryan has been doing the Lord's work. He has been dismantling, he has been protecting. And, okay, Renza seeks out Yahiko. Nothing out of the ordinary will happen, but Roy tries to push him back out of the way. It will be difficult to knock him out of the wall.
They're all literally lined up, like as though they kind of expected where Yahiko is eventually going to go. Alas, none of those hit, though. So that's the important thing. It didn't hit.
Again, it will be difficult for Bong to eventually get out of that base because so much bushes that they need to check. And Lord easily taken out by Lucian Cutie, walks right into it, won't execute and commit the portal play because he knows that Yahiko's just going to jump right out of it. He's just waiting for Bong, and that's his only target that he cares about.
At this point in time, at least Bray manages to take down the Lord. A pretty easy play so far. So this is going to be an upcoming GG push in favor for Team Stallions.
We're slowly waiting for the Lord to come online in the next 10 seconds. Kings keeping busy, cleaning house and cleaning shop.
As we continue to wait until the 11th second for the wave to eventually come in, this is the point in time where Team Stallions is going to be posturing up.
A lot of unwanted guests that Kings need to settle. As the immortality is already built up for Team Stallions, it's going to be difficult to take them all down once the Lord comes into position.
And with a barren wasteland, Kings SG have got no choice but to take on the Lord and 5 other members head on as they look for an opportunity.
We don't have any base skirmish, but Roy executes the heavy spin, pushes everyone out of the way. The final slash from Bumble Reborn won't connect
Renza
onto anyone, but they're targeting that base. Renza is having enough of it. He wants to go to the next game, bringing Stallions a 1-0 victory.
They wasted no time at all, to a certain extent whereby Team Stallions probably have expected that this is not a game where they will be able to play late game. This is a game that they can't just win. Just based on sheer 5v5, we wipe you out and then we...
Difficult. Renza had a perfect game.
Holding on to a fart? Yeah.
Holding on to a holding on to a fart, but enabled by Diablo, enabled by Bray, they knew how to play. Lucian Cutie was just smart. He was tactical in the way that he hides in the bushes, and I have to say, best use of the brushes in MPL SG so far, especially for dangerous grass.
When it comes down to dangerous grass, I'm gonna have to say, having a chip definitely is pretty darn scary. But I don't feel a lot of massive impact coming in from the chip. Yes, drop the portal, all 5 people drops in. There has been pros and cons of that, and we clearly saw what's good about it when they split themselves up almost instantaneously, right? 2% go down to the bottom lane, 2 other person stays in the Lord's Pit. I think that is very either really clever of them to kind of split themselves, or the fact that it just so happened that don't come in anymore, don't come in anymore, kind of thing. And then they're like, okay, let's just deal with the Lord.
I think that the portal play was actually an awesome kind of engage mechanism that Lucian Cutie brought to the play styles and dimension for Team Stallions. The only issue was the Grok. The Grok was able to deny and disengage from any of these fights. Notice how Lucian Cutie was really smart in the way that he's waiting for the right targets. He doesn't really care about Yahiko because he knows that he can't catch him. He's just waiting for Bong, force the flicker at the very least. It was just timing that Iron Ryan was able to outplay and disrupt Roy's engage onto Bong. So that was a very smart play from both sides. It was just executed much better from Team Stallions at the end of the day. It was so difficult to also bring them all down. Bong doesn't really have that shred damage that Ryzen needs to bring into the table. It was difficult to bring down Ryzen and Bomb because they're way too far ahead. And Bunboy Reborn wasn't... He feels not comfortable with his R-Lot. He's missing the final slashes. He's using the final slashes in a very defensive position when he wants to try to heal himself up instead of setting up for the rest of the team.
I think ultimately for the side of for Kings SG, I really do want to give the credit over to Iron Ryan, just because of that one big play. The one big play is not exactly a game-winning play, but it just shows the amount of I would say
tactical knowledge.
Yeah, that's one, and micro play. The fact that he's able to move that fast to really help out Wong.
Yeah, that was a very smart move by Kings. They still are not out of the woods just yet, though. Team Stallions 1 game ahead of Kings. So Kings, they came back before in the early game today, and against Insomniac. So if anytime, now's the time. Team Stallions 1 game away from solidifying their spot.